Hey, what's up guys, I'm Praetorian and welcome back to Galactic Civilizations IV, as we're playing as the Drengin Empire. So I did play ahead about 1 year in order to get us a little further along and closer to conflict. Get our fleets in place so that we could declare war. And this turn actually, I've got this open. It's our planets and colonies list, so you can see what all our planets are doing. And also, you'll notice that I did rename several of our core planets as well as a couple colonies, and I got a few new locations colonized. We also have a governor here on Valkyrie, and so now they are a core planet. Here's our current score. We're just below the Archaeans, but we're well above the other two factions, and you'll see that we're first place in everything but manufacturing capacity. So the first thing we need to do is take a look at our leaders. I appointed a new Minister of Exploration in order to get a bit more ship range. That's something I really focused on in the year that I played. I think I got 2 techs that increased the ship range because we couldn't even reach that civilization that we wanted to declare war on. I think we could reach like one of their mining bases, but that was pretty much it. Also changed up all the governors so that they made a bit more sense for what we have each of these planets focused on. And then what we're going to be doing with these two guys over here is we're going to appoint our first faction leaders because we do now have the technology in order to make use of these. So if you didn't watch any of my past series, the idea here is that each one of these factions grants a benefit and a penalty. And each one of those is based off of one of the leader stats. So in the case of the Slavers Guild, the diligence will grant manufacturing, while the character's intelligence will result in a penalty to the maintenance on all worlds. So essentially you want to put a character here who has high diligence and low intelligence. So with our characters over here, Master Kibith, he's got good resolve, so probably would be good for the Warforged, particularly because the social isn't that high. Now 3 is kind of high for our species. But the other thing to consider is the favor. So this will affect like how good the bonuses are. So with the natural league, you're not going to get as powerful bonuses here because we just don't have high favor, and that's based on your cultural traits. So if you look at the Warforged and the Slavers Guild, that's clearly the 2 best places for us to put a leader. We're going to put Master Kibith into the Warforged. And so that's going to grant us 8.7% military, so we'll be able to construct ships and stuff like that in our shipyards faster, but we're going to get a penalty to the crime. We're going to get increased crime on all of our planets. So the Baron here, he has low social skills. He's got good resolve, but there's nowhere else to put him, and his resolve is not as high as this character's. But his intelligence is okay. Again, that's not bad for our species, so maybe we'll put him on the Superiority League, since with this one you want high intelligence and low social. The bonuses to manufacturing would probably be a bit higher, but his diligence isn't that great, so let's just put him into this one here. That's going to get us a nice little bonus to research, but of course we're going to get that little penalty to growth, unfortunately. But we got really good growth on our planet, so not too much of an issue. So we do need to handle one of our core worlds. I saved this one, Nexagar. I want to show you guys a couple things. So first of all, we did finish up the construction of that labor camp. I don't know if you guys saw that before. So we actually need to assign one of these citizens as a prisoner. And I think it makes the most sense to make the robot, who's a former ex-convict. We're going to make the your citizen here into a prisoner. So we'll imprison them. And I almost want to imprison another character just to get the increased manufacturing on this planet. I think we'll imprison this guy here. And then we'll probably make another worker, because that's what we really need, is manufacturing. It seems that we're out of control, so that is unfortunately not a possibility. So I did want to show you guys one of the features that I don't think I've shown in this series yet. We've seen it in past series, that you can do the planetary conversion. That will open up this tile. And you'll get those from a variety of things, like technology, you can grant them. There's a few different things that will open up tile slots on your planet. So all of our planets have been able to add one more tile. I've already got that started on a few of them, but with this planet, we're actually not going to do that right now, because what we want to work on is the Stellar Forge. So this is a civilization achievement, and we can only construct it on one of our colonies. We cannot construct it on a capital world. So on our main capital planet, we can't build this. And so we're going to put it here, because this grants a ton of military. And remember, this location, which did have a different name before, it's now called Nexagar. This is a location that gets those bonuses. You know, it has this tile improvement over here, the Precursor Accelerator, which will increase the moves of any ships that are built here. I want to say there was some other bonus that we're getting from this planet, or could get from it. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and make the Stellar Forge here. And that plays really nicely with these two buildings, since it boosts the manufacturing and the military. So it's going to take 19 turns to get that. Originally said 31, but we had some rollover production. And over here in Ironhold, which is the name of the shipyard, we're working on supply ships to try and get the Stellar Forge built a bit faster. And then Nexagar and its shipyard really can focus on building up ships, which has been a heavy focus in the year that I played. We've got a second larger fleet over here. It's at 22 combat rating because we now have increased logistics, so we can put more ships in a fleet. Because this is the fleet that you guys saw in the previous episode. I did refit all the ships to make them as modern as we had designed up to that point, and I've already moved them over to here, and you can see that increased range with those new techs that I got and that new character in that position. So we need to declare war on the Iconians. The time has come to destroy me. You will regret this. Yeah, you heard me. So this determines how long your war is going to be. And the longer it is, or the longer you intend for it to be, the greater penalties you get to diplomacy. And we already get a lot of penalties. Now, we don't really care if people like us. We also don't want them to all gang up on us. I mean, they are still kind of far away, so they're probably not too much of an issue. But for now, we're just going to go with the War of Expansion. We can always declare war on them again later. So, war it is. Alright, so we need to find their mining station over here so we can get that destroyed, so we can take advantage of the Durantium here. Not that we really need Durantium, or that we have a construction ship anywhere in the area. So we didn't locate it just yet. I'm assuming it's right here somewhere. And before we look at this event, I want to show you guys the War of Expansion. So this shows us that we have 23 more months in order to complete our war goals. And so if we had changed our war goal to something else, we would have had more time. But of course we would have got the higher diplomatic penalties.
It has been nearly 5 years since we departed from our star system to delve into the mysteries of the galaxy. Our vulnerability to a planet-wide extinction event is no longer a concern, and we have successfully introduced life, our life, to new worlds. A celebration is observed on each of these new worlds we now call home. It's a moment for our people to pause and reflect on the progress we've made to reach this point. Tales are shared, recounting the dreams of our ancestors that span thousands of years, dreams which are now being realized by our generation. The anticipation of what the next year will bring fills us with excitement.
I feel like it's been more than 5 years, but yeah, we're going to get 10 culture points and also 20% approval. So that's really helpful because we actually have kind of low approval. I know it says first place here, maybe everybody else is having approval issues as well. It looks like we just met the Terran Alliance. So let's say we shall pluck those cow eyes out of your skull, human. Because yeah, we just met the Drath as well. I don't think we had seen them before. So there's their starbase. And unfortunately, they have built up the defenses here. So I don't know if we can... Yeah, we can't click on it to take a look exactly what they have there. But you can see their total defense is 340. And thus their combat strength is 26. So our little fleet of combat rating of 20 could not take it down. And so we might have to wait till we get our bigger fleet here, but what we could do is look for their fleets to attack those. We could also see if there's a less well defended mining base. But what we really need to do is take out any enemy fleets, start clearing those, so we don't have to worry about them invading into our space. There's also something over here that I missed. It seems that this is their space. Not entirely sure what they placed here. I assume it's just like a regular old star base because there's nothing to mine here unless I missed it. But I suppose our other fleet will have to do that since they'll be coming their way down here anyways. So we just got an event here from the Archaeans. Culture Wars. Our citizens have become enamored of your trinkets and entertainment, leading to a new generation being born on our worlds with your ridiculous names. A few temporary restrictions will help bring order and won't have significant impact on your long-term efforts. So we can accept limited restrictions for our common good. I really don't see us doing that. We can say no changes will be made, or we plan on giving your citizens more of what they want. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to get some money in our treasury with that. So you can see that we're now number 1 here. So we're above the Archaeans. Our manufacturing capacity is up. And I'm curious where the Drath and the Terrans are. Because I'm guessing, yeah, there's the Terrans, there's Earth. I'm guessing our probe ships just located them. We have like, what, 4 or 5 probe ships out there, discovering new enemies for us to fight. So here in our capital, we just finished 2 civilization achievements. The technological capital, that's going to help with the research and the influence, and the coordination beacon. So that gave us more influence and control. And I think the first thing we're going to do here is take advantage of this really huge bonus here, getting us up to level 8 and then also boosting everything around it by building the research district. And then this location that we have not taking advantage of the planetary conversion, I think we're going to do right here. This one obviously affects more areas, but we haven't even built anything here. Well, I think this one would be really helpful because of the coordination beacon. So we're going to take care of that. And we're going to be working on influence so that we can expand our borders a bit faster. Here on Stardock, we just built a prison labor camp. So let's go ahead. And this guy's named Hainlord, but he's about to become a prisoner. Make him a prisoner so we can get some more manufacturing. And we'll start making use of that manufacturing by building a housing district right here. And then maybe the planetary treasury right here. Because wealth is one of the things we're not doing great on, guys. We don't produce much. And so it does kind of limit us. Like, for instance, the orbital improvements, those cost wealth. Refitting the ships costs wealth. Hiring new leaders costs wealth, obviously. So there's a lot of things we could be using the wealth for. And it's a real bummer that we couldn't destroy that with this fleet here. I was hoping it'd be easy since it's just a mining base. But they clearly invested in the defenses there. Now, as far as our other fleet, let me just take a look at the situation here, because we're building this up. So we have room for 2 more ships. We got them up to 23 combat strength. Frankly, it's going to be difficult to get our fleets really powerful without some of the command ships or getting cruisers, which you don't have access to yet. So we're getting 1 more ship here, and that'll get us up to 4 and 4. So we're going to need to build 1 more. So it looks like I already got some building. We're going to take this one out and just build these 2 here. The 2 subjugators, and then that fleet will be ready to go after our enemies. So it's going to end our turn here, and we're colonizing another planet. This is just a crappy planet that will remain a regular old colony. So this gets us some modules. We haven't had any modules for a while, though I do have one of our star bases working on getting some of those. This also increases our moves, so that'll be helpful. And gets us the perimeter scanners. Of course, that costs the modules, something that we haven't had. We could get better shields, or we could get the precursor archaeology. And this is for the manufacturing districts. It only takes 1 turn, so I say let's work on that, since we'd have to refit our ships if we wanted to take advantage of those shields. So yeah, just looking for the enemy fleet can be difficult to find them, particularly when you have these low sensors. So I mean, it's a very small area. Oh, there's an asteroid miner. I guess we could destroy that. But basically, you can't really see very far. Now, we do have some items we can use here. If we find a fleet, we could use that. In fact, we could have used that here on that mining starbase, but I'd prefer to use it on a fleet. What we could do is increase the crime on their capital planet. Maybe you can't do it on their capital and only do it on an actual colony. Obviously, we don't want to use it here since that's not a core world. Probably can't even use it there because it wouldn't have really any effect. So we need to find another one of their core worlds and see if we can't use it there. So yeah, we got this tech. It was a one-turn tech. Could get some control. That's always helpful. In fact, that's probably what we're going to get, though I would like the actual cultural points. This is going to take 3 turns. Yeah, you know what? Let's work on that. It gives us a bunch of stuff. Influence growth, Minister of Culture, all kinds of good stuff. So just looking for something to attack or destroy. There is a flagship here. It says that we would take no casualties. All for them, it would be a total loss. Before we attack, let's do a missile volley. Just to weaken them a bit. I don't think we have... Yeah, we don't have anything else that we can use since we don't have the beams. So that just reduced some of their health a bit. So we can go and watch the battle, see how our ships do. If you haven't seen the game before, you do not control your ships. Basically, your only impact on the battle is how you design your ships. You know, everything you do before the battle takes place. There are a lot of different settings you can do here, like speed it up, change the view, so you can get cinematic here. And we did lose a ship, unfortunately. Saw one of our ships explode. Looks like we lost one of those enforcers, which they do have less health than the subjugators. So that's unfortunate, but we destroyed a flagship, so that's kind of a big loss for them. Though I don't know how much experience that thing actually had. But now our fleet is a bit weaker. And we do not have the range yet to get to their capital. There's another mining station here. Is that what the normal total defense is at 340? Because that's what the other one had. Let me take a look at one of our mining star bases. Now you can see that our combat strength is just 10. So if we clicked on this, they probably have the starbase defense system, maybe even some additional upgrades. And that's the reason why those are so difficult to attack, because they've just been investing in them. So we actually have 2 modules. So what we might want to put those into, I mean, I always like to first invest in the economic one, particularly for our capital, so we can get the increased influence growth. So we're going to get that. And then maybe the mining for whatever we need the most. And we have a lot of durantium. Thulium we use for our ships, but not really too much of an issue. Prometheon is probably what we should invest in. And we have 2 sources of Prometheon. And both of these are mining star bases working on 2 locations. So this is durantium and this is thulium. I know that we make a lot of thulium, but we actually use it for our ships. Well, we haven't really been using the durantium much, though that might change because several modules require the durantium. I guess it doesn't matter because we don't have any upgrades that we haven't already gotten outside of, just improving their defenses. And if we were to improve defenses, we should probably do it on the front line here. This is the one that's under greatest threat. So let's get the starbase defense system. And you can see that even with this, it only increases their combat rating up to 16. So clearly, these starbases have more than one upgrade. They've really been focusing on those. We got a supply ship. We're going to send that over to the planet to get the planetary treasury done a little bit faster, so we'll get more money. Built a lot of supply ships. We'll be getting that stellar forge constructed in just 1 turn now. It looks like we got a trade offer. This is from the Durath. They want us to give them some durantium and a technology. It's a military one. We don't give that to anybody. I'm not going to give them the open borders either. Yeah, you know what? If they want a non-military tech, we'll give them that, but we don't want any of this. So this is what we got them to agree to. We're going to give them xenobiology, which is one of the better technologies, in order to get the 3 technologies that they know that we don't. And then also we'll get the Techopod Hive and some credits. So let's go ahead and accept that trade. And yeah, I feel like that's worth it. They're all texts that we've seen several times and we just never bothered to research. Now 2 of those weren't all that helpful for us, but the other one helps with our manufacturing. So we're going to get these 2 sources of antimatter, getting the mining starbase here. That's our first mining starbase for antimatter. Of course, we don't have any modules. Well, that's a nice little shape there, built up around this black hole. So that's the furthest we've gone so far with our any of our starbases or colonies. We need to get this Illyrium over here as well. I think I have one of the constructors being built so that we can take advantage of that, because we don't have any sources of Illyrium just yet. I want to say there are some other things over here. There's Illyrium, there's a culture relic, and there's some antimatter. Some of those are outside our range. Can't quite get all the way over there. So for our next tech, we could get the orbital mining. Could also go with the pulse cannons. Or could do the precursor archaeology. I don't think we have any sites that we can take advantage of that just yet. I don't know if those are in our reach. I think that might be what we go with. Though some of these would be pretty good to get too. And it only takes 2 turns. But you know what? Let's work on weapons, guys. Since we are currently at war with somebody who clearly has very difficult starbases to fight. I think they focused on defense. And so now we're going to have some difficulty attacking them. So the reason I wanted to open this location up is because I actually wanted to use this one to instead boost our capital city, because we actually have this colonial clinic which gives a +2 to population. Also just gives some nice growth bonuses. Now we are already at our cap, and really I just want to boost this up, because remember that gives you 2+ to the population cap by increasing the level there, and then also is going to increase our income. So let's go ahead and put this here in order to boost the capital city, and then in order to get the influence higher here, because it's only currently at level 3, we're going to build a cultural district right here. So that'll help boost that so we can get increased influence in the capital. So we quickly finished up the Stellar Forge, so now we're going to get a lot more military points. We'll be able to construct stuff in the shipyard quite a bit faster. We're going to go ahead and do the planetary conversion right here, take advantage of all the bonuses around it. That's going to take 3 turns to get done. And then with our fleet, we can't go after the mining starbase, unfortunately. There's not a lot we can do with this really weak fleet. I'm a little surprised with their defenses. They've clearly invested in those. So there's this location over here, and then this location here. Again, this one we will attack with our larger, more powerful fleet, which is currently up to full strength. So let's go ahead and send them down there now. So that's going to take them a few turns to get over there. And then I assume that means that our capital starbase has nothing to build, so I think we'll start working on some siege ships, which we actually got the next level of siege ships, which are called the Intruders. They have a much higher conquest rating, so you don't need as many of those. I also redesigned them, hence the M2, and gave them a weapon to defend themselves, and also some more health. It does make them more expensive to build, but we build really quick, so I'm really not too worried about it. Because you can see, we produce a lot of military here in the capital. So we're going to start building those. We've got a few of them. We already have 1 siege ship here, and we'll just add those to it. So let's just put this guy here. And then want to put them on sentry. Now, it's kind of useless since we can't actually reach their capital to do an invasion, and we don't know where any of their other planets are. Maybe here, but I don't even think we can reach over there. No, we can't. So range is still unfortunately an issue. We're a bit limited. So our instigator here needs to start scanning another locations, and we'll take a look and see what he found in that one there.
Scanners have detected a sealed container of Arnorian alloys floating in deep space. The materials inside appear to be remarkably durable, potentially useful for ship construction or valuable on the open market.
So we're just going to take the money. I think that's far more than you'd get on the market if you try to sell 3 Drantium. And we have plenty of Drantium. Have not really been making use of that, and that's largely due to the lack of modules. We can construct modules here on our planets and additional starbases, so we could do that, but I'm really trying to build out the starbase as much as possible. We just got a new tile for this planet's Vorok. I'm focusing this planet on wealth, so they're up to 9.9. We've gotten the planetary treasury, and our governor also grants that wealth, that +5 from the heir of antiquity. But before we do any more wealth buildings, let's first take advantage of the rare earth metals to get a bit more science. So we'll do the pain amplifier right there. And then let's do a financial district right here to boost that location. Just get a little bit more money here. And our instigator over here has finished researching an anomaly, so we got this event.
Your lead captain has reported an unusual encounter with a lost cargo container floating aimlessly in space. Upon careful examination, it seems to be a device created by a long-lost civilization with the purpose of locating precursor technology on various planets. Despite the device being quite old and in a state of disrepair, it still holds potential value, even if it only has a single use left. Now you are faced with a decision. Would you like to keep this device safely stored in your vault, or would you prefer to sell it in exchange for credits?
We definitely want to keep this and make use of it probably on our capital. I think it makes the most sense. Like if you just looked how much research we're getting 24 here. I don't really know if there's anywhere comparable to that. Orzanoth, probably the next highest at 13. So yeah, I think we should use it there. Probably has the most modifiers. So you're just going to get the most out of this. So let's go and use that on the capital planet. And we'll see that their research has increased up to 29.2. So much higher than just the +2 because of all of those modifiers on the planet. So this is our leader all pissed off because somebody constructed the Giga Obelisk Galactic achievement before us. So we got another colony ship built on our home planet, which I don't recall building one of those, but apparently we did. So we need to figure out who we want to throw in there. We actually have an entrepreneur on the planet, so we'll probably keep them on there, though I think entrepreneurs use social, and so this guy is not great at it. But we'll keep him because he's the only one. And I guess Master Fark is going to leave. So, this is a soldier, apparently. Yeah, well, that's the person leaving. Oh, that's right, they're the invader. Okay, I do remember that we got the construction started for one of the invader ships. So that's why we needed to pull that guy out. So yeah, we got 2 of those, I think, building. We have 3, so let's just do 2. Because yeah, we don't want to use that many of our populations. We'll have one more of those built because we have a ton of pops here on our capital planets. And you know, once we get these built, we'll have a higher cap, but the growth is so high on the capital. And you never know, we might get some better citizens than the ones we're moving off. We still will want to get some additional siege ships because we only have 1 of those. And those do not require pops. So let's get, I don't know, 2 of those. Maybe we'll build those first so we have time to get another citizen, just to see if that citizen's any good. But we do have plenty of logistics here. We want a fleet that has a very good conquest rating so they can conquer, you know, planets that have the high defenses. And there's 2 things that make sense to be built here. So we could do the surveillance center, since that will boost population and military, so population and the military starport. However, its main effect here is the crime, and that's really what it does. And we don't have any crime issues on our planet. And I think that's because we're totalitarian. So instead, we should probably get the supply depot, since that will boost manufacturing and military. And 2 points each, so it's really better. It also reduces crime, which isn't only helpful, but it increases manufacturing by 10%, and every level will increase approval. And approval is not fantastic here. So of course having the higher approval is helpful. So we'll work on that. This is only going to take one turn. So let's go ahead and boost manufacturing. And then maybe take advantage of these influence locations. So we'll get the cultural districts in both of those. Because our borders really aren't growing all that fast. And so we'd like to improve that. Here's how we're currently doing the war, 8%. That's just from the one battle that we won. We could attack, this private expeditionary mission here. Easily wipe them out. We'll just do a quick battle. So that's not going to help us at all. It is a fleet battle 1, but obviously it's a really weak fleet. So yeah, not going to help us. And again, there's just nothing else for us to do over here besides like sitting at this location and attacking anything that they send out. Because we can kind of make it over to here, but yeah, not going to be able to do anything. Just got to wait until our larger, more powerful fleet gets down here. But even that fleet might not be powerful enough to take out those star bases. What it really comes down to, I think, is we need to get some increased range, guys. Our range is just not enough. And I don't know that we'll have that before the end of the war. We need to get this construction ship. Let's see what we want to build. We can reach their space now. Well, that's interesting. So if we wanted to declare war on them next, there's actually colonies that we could reach. They would be a bit more of a challenge, or maybe not. Their military power isn't high, but neither is the Iconians. It used to be higher, but I think us destroying that flagship is what brought that down. But overall, they are far more in competition with us when it comes to overall numbers, and they could easily build out a fleet to defend themselves. But yeah, we can actually reach some of their colonies. Although, you know what, let me take that back, because the construction ships have longer range. You see our military fleet can't quite get to those systems. That's what I was thinking. So yeah, unfortunately, they wouldn't be able to reach there either. But with the construction ship, we could get the antimatter and also get this thulium close to their space here, or go deeper into their space with the Prometheon. But I think we should probably focus on getting that Illyrium. So let's go and move over there, and we'll get that mining base constructed. We do have some control to make use of, and it looks like we were just attacked by a fleet that's almost as powerful as ours. But you can't only look at the combat rating, you also got to look at the hit points. We have a lot more hit points than they do, because these are bombers and a fighter, and then the 2 frigates. And we have the enforcers to fight the bombers and fighters, and then our subjugators, they're the corvettes, are specialized to fight against frigates. We're actually going to watch this battle. It's the first kind of big battle that we've had here. It's a shame we lost that one ship. We'd be in a much better position. So we can change up this camera mode. Look at the top-down view. You see our ships out there, wiping out their much smaller ships. It seems like we're doing really well. And their ships are really small. And that's really my issue with the bombers and fighters. With their very low health, they're just too easily destroyed. And so when you looked at the actual combat rating, it looked like they're going to do far better than they would have. But it's just the low hit points. And so they barely did any damage to us. We just destroyed them too quickly. And so that's why we're not making use of those. So let me get rid of this here. I guess we could take a look at all of our options. Could invite some leaders, because we got new stuff here that we didn't have before. We got the pressure scientist. That's really useful if you have like a tech that's going to take a while to get. So we might want to make use of that. So we're going to wait until we get a tech selected. Now that research does roll over, but I still don't think we'd want to use it for a tech that we could get really quickly. The influence growth would be nice with the culture points, or we could get the shields. That would have to be used for our next war. So let's get these culture points and the influence growth. So our fleet here, we're just going to set them up to repair, since they've taken a little bit of damage. And in the iron hold of Nexigar, we've been working on the supply ships, and I think it's about time, now they have all that military, that we start investing and building ships. I know that our ships aren't all that powerful because we only have the smaller hulls with the enforcers and the subjugators, you know, the corvettes and the frigates, but this is what we got, guys. So let's just keep building these. Kind of flip-flop between the two of them. And I think we can build like 9 total for a fleet, just based on our logistics. So we can go ahead and build 3 more of these. There we go. So we'll just have them built out a whole fleet. And then with that last supply ship they constructed, we'll send that over to Nexgar now. Get that manufacturing upgraded quicker. And then on Stardock, we're going to have them build a colony ship, because I think there's still a colony right here that we haven't taken advantage of yet. There's also one right here. You know what? I think we found this from an event, because it wasn't here before. And that's an amazing one. Yeah, it definitely wasn't there before, I don't think. Because I remember when we built this here, it was something else. And so we clearly want to colonize that location next. So that'll be right next to Vorok. And we'll have to get like a governor and all that if we want to make it a core world. So this is a proposition for swift passage. We frequently traverse your space during our explorations. In fact, as you know, everyone does. But we'd like to offer you a token of goodwill. We have technology that can increase the speed of your vessels, easing any burden our presence may cause. So if we accept the technology and allow continued exploration, we'll get +1 moves, but they will get +8 sensor range to all ships. I feel like the increased moves would be worth allowing them to have increased sensor range. Let's go for it. Because, you know, we need to move vast distances for our fleets. So I think that would be really helpful. So that's a supply ship. I'm not entirely sure where they are at. These guys have an upgrade. And again, just going to probably continue to work on, you know what, we can invest in some hit points just in case they get attacked. Yeah, we'll get those. And then we'll see what they found after we get them assigned to go after this artifact over here.
We've discovered an asteroid that is emitting an unusual energy signal. It appears that there might be an alien structure hidden beneath its surface. In response, we dispatched a landing party to investigate. However, each member returned hours later missing a limb. What's even stranger is that none of them could remember how they lost their limbs. In fact, they don't even recall having those limbs to begin with. It's as if they've always been that way. They even suggest that the rest of us have too many limbs and recommended we visit the asteroid ourselves.
Well, I say send another landing party to investigate.
The second landing party is taken aback when they stumble upon members of the first landing party working on an unusual alien ship. Surprisingly, these crew members aren't missing any limbs. Upon further investigation, they find out that these individuals are clones of the first landing party. These clones have been created from the severed limbs. The silver lining is that the crew members back on our ship are the genuine ones. However, there's a downside. The clones have just finished repairing the alien ship and unfortunately it doesn't seem to be friendly.
Okay, so this is going to spawn an enemy ship, so clearly not the thing we were supposed to do there. So I looked around the space and can't seem to find where that enemy ship is. You'd think it would be right here, unless it has to do with the other instigator, but I'm pretty sure it's this one. Or maybe it's over in the area we can't see. That's potentially a possibility, but let's go ahead and get these guys helping build in on Vorok and move on to the next turn. Moving into November 2312. And again, this fleet here is done repairing, and so we're just going to go ahead and set them up to do the sentry duty. Because again, there's not really anything for them to do until we get the increased range. We have 19% on the war so far, only 14 months remaining though. And nothing to do this turn. Okay, so now we're going into December 2312. So our larger fleet has finally reached this area, and it is actually a small colony. And because it's so small, despite the fact that we don't really have much conquest here, we could easily get it conquered. So let's go ahead and do that. It's going to be 5 months, so 5 turns. Obviously, if this was a more conquest-focused fleet, we'd be able to get that done quicker. But at least it gets us a victory here, and we'll earn something from the conflict, because there's only 12 months remaining. And so I'd like to get something from it, because the range has been the main limiting factor in this conflict overall. Let's go ahead and put the supply ship on the Ruined Rain World, because I think that's their shipyard. And then we also got another constructor ship. So I suppose this one, rather than going after the antimatter over there, I think we should try and get this thulium, just because it's on the front line. And Proctor's about to be ours, so it makes sense to move them over there. Now, one thing I haven't really shown yet is how we're doing in relations. So the Arcane Republic is unfriendly. Well, they like us more than you think they would, because we're outside their traveling range and because we're at war with a species they hate. Same thing here with the Darath. We're actually neutral with them. The war is improving our relations with a lot of these empires. Now, the Festron, they're going to hate us, as you'd expect. And then, of course, these guys hate us as well because we're at war with them. So no surprises there. We could make use of our control for an executive order. Let's move this a little bit closer to our space. Just a slight amount, and then we're going to get the mining starbase, and that's our first Illyrian mine. And we also met somebody new. Your reputation precedes you. We wish only for peace, for whatever that's worth to you. This is Altarian Republic. We did play as them in one of our past series. So we could say they're a little spooky, or just do not get in our way, which is what we're going to say there. And we did get another colony ship constructed. So let's go ahead and put Captain Dinrog. Yeah, Captain Dinrog will go on to that colony ship there. And let's get rid of this here. We just finished up our research. So we could get the Xeno Agriculture. That's one that's been popping up for a while. Could get the Starbase Defense Grid. So that increases our logistics so we can have bigger fleets. Gets us some modules. Clearly the best choice. Only going to take 2 turns to knock that out, though. I'm really tempted to see if there's anything here that we could research in a decent amount of time. Obviously the battle cruisers would be helpful. That's 5 turns. You know, you don't have to get the 50% research bonus. But what I really want is something that would increase our range. And unfortunately there's nothing in here, but I'm really tempted to go for those battle cruisers. I mean, they'll always be there. We can always get them. And you never know, maybe eventually they'll pop up in here. So with that colony ship that Stardock constructed, let's get this location here colonized. We'll need a name for that planet. And we do have some modules to make use of. So could continue to build up the defenses here. I don't even know if we have anything. Yeah, we have the advanced defenses. I don't think we're under much threat, honestly, considering the fact that they don't have much of a fleet. And so I think we really should instead boost probably thulium, because we're really using a lot of that for our ships. So a thulium location like this one here would be worth investing in. So let's get the mining drones. And you know what? I know we don't have many of these, but we're going to get that too. Because again, we're using a lot of thulium. Like each one of our ships requires one. And then we also got a cultural trait. So we could get the censorship, and then the factions will have no negative side effects. Or we can unlock the secret police policy. But we need to get the censorship in order to unlock the next 2. So I need to just show you guys, just in case you forgot, what those factions are giving us when it comes to negative penalties. So we're currently getting an increase of crime. Really doesn't hurt us too much. We don't really have a crime problem on our planets, but our growth is being slightly reduced. So now once we get this, we no longer have to worry about the negative side effects of those factions. And so that's really nice to have. We do have 1 module remaining, and since we only have 1 source of Illyrium currently, we should probably invest in the mining drones here. Increase the rate that we mine that. We have an event as well.
Recently, an attempt on your life was barely prevented. This event appears to be a consequence of the general unhappiness among our citizens, which stems from our assertive colonization policy. The homeworld is currently engulfed in chaos, leaving the population split and afraid. What measures will you take to tackle this crisis and re-establish peace?
So we can launch a thorough investigation. This is going to increase our research, will also increase our maintenance costs, or we can increase our control. So basically it just seems beneficial to me. Let's increase research. 2+ research seems like it'd be useful. Get through the text. I guess you could use control to get research as well, though. And we need a name. For right now, we'll just call this, Castor 5.
Our engineers are thrilled with the unique construction opportunities that the odd gravity conditions of this planet provide. They are convinced that we can take advantage of these fluctuations to greatly cut down on building costs. We now need to consider what our policy should be regarding the appointment of a governor for this planet. When should we do it, or should we do it at all?
Well, I think we should definitely reduce the construction costs there. We'll increase the maintenance, but I think it's worth it if you get things constructed faster. So we got the Starbase Defense Grid, so a lot of new options for our star bases. We also get increased logistics, so we can build up our fleets to a larger size, and we got some extra modules. There's the battlecruiser tech, so it's probably good that I waited to get this, because now we can get it in just 3 turns. Yeah, let's go ahead and get that. Makes the most sense, because we just don't have the firepower that we need, and that we're only going to get. I've got a flagship right here. I'm not going to attack us, because they're doing this anomaly, the space junk. I would really like to get them destroyed, but we're doing this siege. It's only 1 month remaining, so we'll finish that, and then we can go attack them, because I assume they're not going to be done with this anomaly yet. So we'll get that flagship destroyed. So with our victory here and then destroying the flagship, that'll increase our points by a lot. 9 more months remaining. So Stardock does not have a lot of space. It's class 19. But let's really get some stuff set up here, guys. So we're going to do the cultural district. Always use our culture. We're going to get that as well. And let's get the colonial clinic over here. That takes a little while longer. And then maybe something for science and this location. So you have the research district. Could also just do the pain amplifier. I suppose that's what we'll do. So place that there. So this will keep them busy for a little while. So Vorok is going to continue focus on the financial districts. We'll probably also get the governor's manor maybe right here, and then put the financial district right here. So really focusing on boosting that money, and also maybe increasing their population a lot. So like putting one here would be nice, and one right there. Maybe we'll just throw a science district right here. So lots of stuff built up in the queue. I guess we'll just get another constructor here. Don't really need to do another intruder just yet. We'll just do some supply ships. Because yeah, we won't be able to invade their capital, unfortunately. Which you would need some good ships for doing that. Yeah, 9 turns left in the war. No way we're going to increase. We actually have a constructor ship. We just built that. So I was probably thinking about getting this location right here. And so we probably don't need another constructor ship. Well, let me take that back. There's the Illyrium over here. We should go after that. And then the one that we have building can go after the antimatter. Yeah, that makes sense. And this guy's got a level up. So I don't think we did the crew quarters for this flagship, and then have a much bigger effect for them because they have the much higher hit points. And so we're going to get them that. That gets them up to 116. Decent combat rating for this ship here. So that's the event from whatever they discovered here. Let's send them over to a new location rather than go over to that area, since we've gone to war with these guys and we don't want to expose our flagship, even though it is a pretty powerful flagship. Let's just go over to this location.
Drifting through space is an ancient techopod hive, a self-sustaining biofactory designed for terraforming and environmental adaptation. Some of its systems appear to be intact.
So we certainly want to get the techopod hive. Those are useful for our mines, mining star bases. And this guy finished up as well. Okay, let's send this flagship over here.
Our exploration has led us to an artifact from the precursor era. This device was once capable of manipulating the fabric of space-time to instantly transport their ships to selected coordinates. Unfortunately, the passage of time has not been kind. The artifact's pinpoint accuracy has degenerated into unpredictable uncertainty. Our researchers caution that activating it will now result in a random spatial displacement. However, this unpredictable feature could give us a tactical advantage, offering us a way to move unwelcome fleets into the vast, uncharted expanse of space.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's see what it does. So, randomly teleport a fleet. Okay, so you just don't know where it's going to end up. Well, that's interesting. Alright, so unfortunately we do have to end today's episode here. Won't be able to finish up our war just yet. Not really a whole lot going on. I kind of want to finish up this siege. You know what, let's end the turn so we can get the siege done. We don't have to do anything else in the turn. We did just finish up that intruder, so that means we do have to add somebody here. This character actually has a social skill. That's rare for our people. So we got to kick them off the planet. Does that make sense? Get out of here. You're going to go to war. So this is our first invasion done. And so now this planet is under our control. And it's sending its resources to Valkyrie. So just the closest planet over to here. So eventually that will change over to our space. And now our fleet is able to go over here and attack this flagship. Although we will have to wait till the next turn, unfortunately, because we don't have any movement points. We used them all up on this attack here. And it's probably good that we got control of that because their ruined ringworld is actually at this location. And so that's where we're going to go next. So this does give us another opportunity to do something in this war. We're currently at 40%. So the Conquering of the Colony has really boosted that. I don't think there's any other ships over here for us to attack. So we just got them sitting on the sentry duty for now. But yeah, we'd want to go after that next. And take a look and see how long it would take for them to conquer this. Oh, it's insufficient. Because this is a full core world. And so we would have to use one of our more dedicated conquering fleets. So we have one here. They have the 164. We're not building anything there. We could send it. Let me take a look and see how long it would take. Just 1 month. But they're not protected. So they could be easily destroyed. So we need to be careful with them. It's going to take them a little while to get down here. But we got to make sure that we protect them with our main fleet. So I want to clear that guy out and then bring the fleet over here. Make sure there's nobody else in the region. So we only have 8 turns. I don't know if that's enough to get the fleet over here, honestly. We move really fast, so maybe. And it's only going to take 1 month to take it over because this is such a strong conquest feat. We'll have to see what we could do there. But we get the battle cruisers in the next turn as well. I might play a few turns to get us over to that point because I'd like to do another war over here as soon as possible. And we should probably build up some of the cruisers before we do that. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy today's episode. If you did, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. Remember, the franchise sale is only going on for about another day, so you got till tomorrow morning if you're interested in purchasing any of the base games or their DLC. So I hope to see you guys on the next one, and thanks for watching.